Hi everyone, welcome to a new edition of the State of Platform online sessions. I'm back in the studio with Wart today. Hey Wart.
Hey Kees.
And we have Raf on standby, ready to deliver a couple of very significant demos. In our announcements over the last couple of weeks, we talked a lot about the new kit on the block for Graphics Genie and AI in Graphics Studio called Smart Crop. Wart, tell us about the new capabilities.
Yeah, Smart Crop is definitely the most exciting feature, I would say. We basically gave Graphics Genie, our AI assistant, a pair of goggles. So now it has vision capabilities, and that means that it can interpret an asset, an image, and it can actually position it as part of a dynamic composition. So it actually creates designs on the fly almost. So basically now it allows us to throw in any image in a design, in a template, and Graphics Genie will position the subject in relation to the other design elements. So making sure that the subject is never overlapped with, for example, a logo or a headline or a QR code. And that's really revolutionary.
Great. Let's have a look. Raf, over to you.
Hey everybody, thanks again for joining us. Let's dive right in. We're going to create a template with a bunch of different layouts for print, display, socials, you name it. We're working on a campaign for a clothing brand, so our lifestyle image will feature a model. We're going to set up a dynamic and responsive design we can use across different channels and sizes. And ideally, we set up the template so it can be reused across campaigns. So this template will need to be able to handle different sizes, different headlines, and different lifestyle images. The problem we have here is that we're dealing with lifestyle images that don't work well if we just center the image in the available space. Remember, we want to automate the production of these graphics, so the last thing we want to do is to manually create all the different image crops to work well with all the different sizes. So this is where we can use AI to solve this problem. So here's where the magic starts. If we enable Smart Crop instead of just centering the image, our AI is now centering the subject of the image. Genie figured out the most important part of the image, in this case, the woman, and automatically adjusts the crop so she's in view. And you might ask, okay, so what if our background image is actually part of a creative design? What if the logo, headlines, and other graphic elements overlay the design? Well, we don't want these graphics to obstruct our subject, and as a designer, I want to have control over this. So as a matter of fact, you can give Genie instructions on what the ideal placement of the subject is within the creative design. So how do we do this? Well, it's as simple as clicking on subject position and showing Genie where in the design we want our model to be placed. This is super intuitive and super easy to use. And you can do that for all other layouts as well. Because our layouts are responsive, I can now easily create more variants. So let me just quickly add a couple more layouts to show you. In this case, we'll go with posters. And as you can see, the subject is always visible, even though I did not have to configure its location again. And this obviously works across display and socials as well. So how does it work under the hood? Well, let's take a quick look. When you upload an image in Graphics Media, our Genie Vision identifies the subject of that image as well as the point of interest. When a human is present, it'll point to the face. You can actually adjust it manually if you get particular requirements. And don't worry if you're not using Graphics Media and directly connecting to your digital asset management system. Graphics Genie can also work with linked images stored outside of the graphics platform. So I dropped the word responsive before, and we've already solved one of the biggest problems when resizing designs. But of course, there's more. For example, by default, my text elements and icons are all moving relative to the page. But for my logo, I have a specific brand guideline. It always needs to have a specific offset from the border of the design. So here, I'm changing the anchoring from the default relative to a specific distance from the right and bottom border. And you know what? We're not even done yet. Different languages, different messages. We want our design to adapt to different content, right? So here's another great feature, Autogrow. So let's go back to our A4 magazine ad. We've got a description of our product that we've set to Autogrow. We've also anchored both the box and the icons to the text. This way, we can add more text, or we can shorten it as well. And both the box and the icon's position will adapt automatically. It is especially useful when you want to switch to a different language. But sometimes, as a designer, I want the opposite to happen. I may want to automatically reduce the font size so the content fits perfectly in the available space. So we've used copy fitting for our headline, so the size of the text is adjusted so that the content fits perfectly in the available space. Bottom line is, the design automatically adapts to the content and not the other way around. Okay, so in order for a user to interact with this template or to inject data, we've set up variables for the headline, claim, and description. We've also connected our lifestyle image via a media connector to a specific collection of assets. So now I want to test my template before we're going to use it in production. I can easily do this by going to run mode and start interacting with the template. All right, that's it for now, guys. Back to you.
Okay, thanks Raf for that first demo. Okay, Bart, our designers have this new capability. What's the impact?
The impact is they will need a lot less templates because these templates, like I said, are usable across the board, across different channels and formats, so sizes. And that means now that basically they can also start reusing these templates across campaigns, because whatever lifestyle image we will throw at it, the design will automatically adapt to it. So we no longer need to set up very specific templates for very specific use cases.
Okay, so more freedom,
More creative
ready
freedom.
to go, throw anything at it and it will just work.
Yep, indeed.
Fantastic. Now, in adoption, we see two ways people put these smart templates to work.
Mm-hmm.
Which are those two ways?
Well, one way is to empower your entire organization. You're basically going to give templates in the hands of non-skilled users, non-graphically skilled users, and they can interact with it. They can make changes to a certain extent. We control what they can modify and what not. And they don't have to know anything about design. They can simply go in, they can basically give a briefing. They can say, I need something for social media, or I need to have a certain specific print format, like an A4 poster for my store. I need to change. I want to change the price, for example. I want to select a product. They can do all of these things. So while they are creating that briefing or filling in the briefing, the design is generated on the fly, and then they can request an output of that.
Okay, let's have a look. This is the first of two use cases, putting smart templates in the hands of non-designers through a brand portal. Raf?
Okay, so now let's look at our brand portal use case. We want to empower non-designers like marketing managers, store managers, dealerships, or franchises to run with our assets. So we've connected our assets to a DAM, in this case, the Adobe Experience Manager, and we're ready to pull in all of those assets. After all the prep work that went into the smart template design, you can now enable local users to go in and further localize central campaigns. And that's going to reflect local details like language, promotional discounts, or even legal information required in that local market. So with this out-of-the-box user experience, we can generate creatives on the fly across channels. And the best part is we can include any kind of targeting. Let me show you a few examples. So let's create a few variations and let's start with audience targeting. Let's give our creative a more adventurous feel by changing, let's say, the headline and the claim. And now let's target a different demographic. We can easily take it from print to digital with, let's say, a Facebook video ad. And now let's target a female audience again. And let's switch platforms again with an image ad on X and focus on products for men, this time rucksacks. And now let's go with a mobile banner for display, retargeting customers who looked at gear on our site. And again, in a couple of seconds, let's stick to display, but target mothers interested in girls' ski outfits. And now let's go full circle and take it back to print with a poster for one of our stores. And you might ask, well, wait a minute. Maybe we need a custom size. And that's actually not a problem at all. You can just edit the dimensions and watch how Genie adapts all elements seamlessly. As you can see, we can create anything and always ensure that we stay on brand. And that's the power of Genie. Whatever channel, whatever dimensions, print, animated, static, the design adapts to the channel or platform we're using, and the lifestyle images are positioned perfectly. And we can change headlines or claims or any other text in seconds to make sure copy and images align with our targeting. It's that simple. All right, guys, back to you.
Okay, thank you, Raf. Now let's have a look at the second mode of adoption. We've now enabled the organization. That means a lot of scale and acceleration in how campaigns and assets go to the market. Not everything lands on the designers. People can do it themselves. The second one is when we have a big chunk of data and we want to use the data to produce assets. Could be for digital shelf, could be for direct mailing programs. Overnight, we want to produce tens of thousands, if not millions, of assets. Same template, very different mode of operation. How does this work?
Well, we recently introduced the concept of the data connector framework. So that means that now anyone can build data connectors. And we're about to launch the first one, actually. It's going to be a Google Sheets connector, which will also serve as an example for other connectors because it's open sourced. And this allows you to connect your template to a data set. That data could be customer data, it could be product information, typically a combination of both. You're going to do a campaign towards your customers or to a segment of your customer base, and you're going to bring product information in the mix, potentially also campaign information like pricing and so on. And by bringing this data set into a template, we can produce all of the different variants in a headless way. Without any human interaction, we can produce thousands, millions of assets.
Okay. Raf, let's have a look.
All right, in this last demo, we're going to look at how to create customized pieces of direct mail with data sources. Thanks to a connector framework, we've added a Google Sheet data connector, and that's going to enable us to produce thousands of pieces of direct mail. First things first, let's check out our template. So as you can see, we added a multi-page layout for a postcard. The front will most likely look familiar to you because that's the template we've used for our stores, print ads, and online ads. We've added the second page with additional elements and created variables to be able to customize it. So we've got a discount percentage that's actually displayed twice in the headline and the subtext. And we've also added a valid through date for our offer. Now the customer's first name is up top, as well as in the address box and along with the mailing info. So last but not least, we're going to add a QR code. However, we're not going to stop there. What we want to do is to be able to track which customers scan the QR code, even if they don't log into their account. So let's add a tracker token to the QR code URL. And since I'm not a developer, I'm going to use GraFx Genie. All right, so let's just open GraFx Genie and enter a prompt. And again, I'm not a tech person, so let's just go with, I want to add a tracker code to track when the customer scans the QR code. The URL of my landing page is chill.com/sale25. My web developer told me the page is expecting a parameter called ctrack. So let's wait a few seconds and see how GraFx Genie is going to solve that issue. All right, so now let's check it out in run mode. So as you can see, we just need to enter a tracker code and the QR code updates. All right, so now let's check out our data source. So we've got a Google Sheet with different columns, each named after one of our variables. We've got everything to customize our pieces of direct mail. So let's go back to our template and under data source, select Google Sheets. And let's just enter the URL and voila, it's connected. And now we're all set. So just like with the brand portal example, I don't want to send a batch of thousands of records to the cloud service without validating it first. So also for this use case, I can go to the run mode and now it's showing me the data source. I can now select different records to check if my template applies the changes correctly. From here, I can click the download button, but of course, all of this works via API. So in this case, we can take the human out of the loop if we want to. So either we go via the API or we click the download button. Just wait a few seconds and our customized pieces of direct mail are ready to be printed. All right, that's it, guys. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Raf, for that third demo. Bart, let's recap. What have we seen?
Well, we've definitely seen a lot of interesting new capabilities. And we developed those all while staying true to our vision. So our vision being, we give you all the automation and AI tools to produce graphics at scale, while staying in control. As a designer, I can still define where the subject needs to go within my composition. As a designer, I can still define what needs to happen when my users are going to make a specific choice, or when data comes into the template, that template can respond to it. We're in control, but at the same time, we can scale drastically.
Great. Okay. Thank you very much for your contribution today, Bart. For you, our audience, if you want to try your hand at these new capabilities, go to chilipublish.com and request a free Chili GraFx discovery environment. It has all the content of today's demos that Raf just showed, and you can play with it yourself and see how these things can help you create at scale. So go to chilipublish.com, and for now, thank you, and until next session. Thanks.